In chiropractic, we talk a lot about the nervous system, and you'll see that in a lot of our other videos. Today I'm going to go over what is the nervous system and what are some easy things that you can learn. It's very complex, so we're just going to cover some of the basics, okay? One of the ways that we make it easier to understand is we divide it into location. There's central nervous system, and then there's peripheral nervous system. Central refers to brain and spinal cord. Those are the only two things that make up the central nervous system. Everything else in the body, so all the nerves in the arm, the legs, to the organs, all the spinal nerve roots that come off the spinal cord, those are all peripheral nervous system. Another way that we divide it up to make it easier to understand is we talk about function. Every nerve in the body has its own job, and there's lots of different jobs, especially once we start talking about the brain. There you have logical thinking, emotion, sensory, smooth motion control, all the things that the brain does, okay? We're gonna make it a little bit easier today, and we're gonna talk about sensory function, motor function, and autonomic function. So we'll start with senses. Most people have learned you have the 5 senses, right? Those are some of the main senses that you have, but you have way more than that. So yes, we have sight, we have hearing, we have smell, we have taste, we have touch. But if you also think about it, there's pressure, there's temperature, there's your ability to, even if you close your eyes, to feel where you are in space. There's the sense that if I put something in my hand, I can feel relatively how heavy that is. Those are all other senses that we have, and that's one important function of a nerve. A lot of people come see a chiropractor because of pain. Well, that's just part of a nerve's function, okay? So we could have other problems going on that affect things other than just your sensory portion of your nervous system, okay? Next, we have motor. Sensory referred to everything coming up to the brain, all the senses that your brain has to interpret. Motor refers to all the signals going the opposite direction, things going out, telling things what to do. So telling your organs how to function, telling your muscles to contract when you want to move. Those are all examples of motor function, okay? So anything that's going out the spinal cord, out into something in the periphery to tell it what to do. Those are all motor. Then we have autonomic, and here's where we start to get a little more complicated because this subsection actually has another subsection. So we start getting into layers here. Autonomic refers to things your nervous system does automatically. That's why automatic and autonomic, those are fairly common words here. They have common roots. So that is divided into sympathetic and parasympathetic. And to make those easy to remember, sympathetic is your fight or flight. Parasympathetic is your rest and digest. And there's a lot more complicated than that, but that keeps it simple for us. So anytime we have fight or flight, so that's adrenaline, that's blood flow to muscles if you're in an intense situation, those types of things are controlled by the sympathetic. Parasympathetic is more so after you've eaten, your body has to digest, you get that little bit sleepy feeling. That's parasympathetic nervous system starts to take control to harvest and collect all the things that you've eaten, right? So we have sensory, we have motor, we have autonomic. And those are some of the things about the nervous system that we work with every day. And now you've learned a little bit more about what we're talking about when we say the nervous system.